Thanks to the support as a channel member, Harvey2478. As you'd expect, Premier League season started really rather well, although we have just had a little wobble and we've now lost a game in the Premier League and the Champions League, which means no invincible season this year again. But today, we're replaying last season's Champions League final. We're away against Real Madrid. I'd quite like to win this one. If we don't, this means we'd have lost 3 games in our last 4, which does become a problem, I think. Hello and welcome to Club 3, part 22 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have that Champions League game against Real Madrid, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do after it. We might even, depending on how things go all the way through to Manchester City, the other side of the January transfer window, and really try and get through this season, because we just want to see if we win the Champions League. That's what it's all about, really. Of course, if we lose to Real Madrid, we might have to come back a little bit sooner because things start to look a little bit wobbly, having already lost to Dortmund and then losing to Brentford in the Premier League as well. We are still top of the Premier League, 11 games gone, 30 points. We've won every game apart from that one against Brentford, and we're looking pretty solid in the Champions League as well. A win here, and we're all but into that top 8 before we've barely passed the halfway point. But a defeat here, and we do start to worry a little bit. And another thing I'm worrying a little bit about is Lamine Yamal, because we spent a lot of money on him. When he plays, he's great, but he has only played 5 matches for us. He's scored 6 goals in them, but goodness me, does he get injured a lot. For £300 million, he's into his 2nd injury now. He's done his ankle ligaments. Now he's got a twisted ankle. Please tell me he doesn't have a recurring ankle injury. Because if he's got a recurring ankle injury for £300 million, I think I might get fired just for that. He hasn't. No recurring injuries. It is the same ankle, though. The same ankle has caused him problems twice since he's been here. So how old is he now? 27. He's a 6'1" physical specimen. His ankles are going. We might need to sell him, just not to Man City. Sell him to Saudi Arabia, get them putting him on $2 million a week, and then he's not our problem anymore. We didn't really want him. We just wanted them to not have him. So if we can bring him in and then move him on to Saudi Arabia, problem solved. Let's beat Real Madrid. This is our team. It's Canizares goal. Of course, there's a lot of players who've played for both clubs as well, Canizares being one of them. But Canizares in goal. A back 4 of Eketsi, Bordalas, Mamishi and Everton Antonio. Mainu at the base of the midfield with Filieri and Ireland ahead of him. We're having a bit of a midfield crisis. Steve. Steve is injured. Larsson's injured. Obviously, we've already talked about Lamar being injured. So Mainu at the base of the midfield. Glad we kept him. Filieri is now natural in central midfield. So his transition is complete and he can become a proper part of that midfield. So he plays alongside Ireland. We have got Ricky Pilbro knocking around as well, but Filieri is he's quite good. I quite like him. Strobel on the left, Moniz on the right, Ilunga up front. Yamal with a knock is down on the bench. We can't actually fill the bench because of the amount of injuries we've got. Haseldin, who we brought in the summer for big money, still hasn't played a game for us. I have started him 6 times for England, though, over the course of this season. He is England's number 1. Aaron Ramsdale has retired, so Jared Haseldin is England's number 1. So get used to him. Even if you never see him play for Manchester United, he's probably going to be my goalkeeper in the World Cup this coming summer. We're 204 days away from the World Cup. Let's get our team submitted. Hopefully, before we get there, we'll have won the Champions League. Now, remember as well, this Real Madrid team has got a lot of our former boys in. So Diogo Costa, we sold to them. Alan Preen is in my England team. Gavi we sold to them. Bellingham's in my England team. Van der Winden, of course, who we sold to them this summer just gone. Shea Lacey we sold to them and he had a great Champions League final. Thiago Bentes is there as well, although not actually in the matchday squad. So it looks like Van der Winden's taken his place in their team. But Van der Winden is going to feel like he has got a lot to prove. Came into Manchester United for big money as a teenager. Before I arrived, he was like an £80 million signing. Won Northwest Rising Star of the Year like 3 years in a row, and I proceeded to sign the likes of Endrick, Ilunga, Yamal, Moniz over the top of him and basically phase him out, even though he's only like 23, 24 himself, and has been good enough to just walk straight into Real Madrid's starting 11 up front, a Real Madrid team that won the Champions League last year. So he'll probably be questioning why I never really gave him a run as a starting striker for me. The answer is Ilunga. I mean, that's the easy answer. And Endrick, as backup, took more chances than Van der Winden did last year as well. This year, Heilbronn is the reason. And obviously, Yamal coming in as well. But Heilbronn is the one that I'm really looking to push at the moment. And Charles Ilunga, I think, has put us ahead. Costa's picked up a knock for Real Madrid. Surprised he's still playing for them with the one-year contracts he was insisting on. He is still there. Is Ilunga onside? He is. It's Real Madrid 1, Manchester United 0 halfway through this first half. And this is a big moment for us. Filieri's involved. Told you I liked Filieri. Ireland playing it in for Ilunga. And we are 1-0 up. And this would be a big, big statement victory if we can beat Real Madrid here. They beat us in the final last year. The result against Dortmund, we're going to call that, it's just an aberration. There they are. I was looking for the word Dortmund. BVB. There they are. Found them. By the way, Glen Torren are in the Champions League, which they've lost every game, as you would expect. But Glen Torren are in the Champions League stage. We actually play them in January. They're one of the teams we've drawn against. So that might be a quite large victory for us, although we might put the reserves out if we're already qualified there. I think it's our last group game. But we are 2-0 up. Bordalas, not one of our enormous meaty boys. We're not playing a dominantly physically heighted. What a sentence. Our centre-backs today aren't our tallest ones. Bordalas is 6'3", so he is tall. He's still taller than me. Mamishi, I think, is shorter than that. Mamishi is 5'11". He's a very little boy. We've obviously got the two 6'6" guys knocking around at the club still, but these two, probably the better players. The other two we've got because they're enormous. And I still don't know whether talent or size is my number one priority, although Bordalas is starting to look very, very comfortable and very good in this role. And Mainu also looking pretty good, playing at the base of the midfield. Also, a weird thing with Mainu, I gave him his England debut a couple of weeks ago. He'd somehow made it to 29 years old in this save without ever playing for England. That shows how old FM24 is now, because obviously he's played for England multiple times in real life, but hadn't when FM24 came out, I presume. I can only assume he'd never played for England when this game came out. But yeah, I don't really know how he'd never even made a substitute appearance. I can understand him maybe not being the nailed-on starter in a world that's got Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham as a central midfielder, and some other players. Have Bellingham and Rice just been 100% fully fit for 10 years? So Mainu's just been sat there on the bench for England and never getting in the team? I mean, who would be the other midfielders ahead of him in the pecking order? I mean, obviously Pilbro has been for the last year or two. Ireland, I guess, has broken through and taken that spot. So Ireland, Bellingham and Rice would all be ahead of him. There's not many more, though. I don't really understand how he'd never played. And I think he was in the squads. I just hadn't realised he'd never actually appeared. But he came off the bench in a match and I got the notification for he'd made his England debut and was thanking me for the opportunity. It was only a couple of months ago. He was begging me to leave and go and finish his career in Saudi Arabia. He's now an England international heading into a World Cup. As holders, by the way, England are the holders of the World Cup. He could end this season as a World Cup winner. And he thought he was going to end it on £1 million a week in Saudi Arabia. There is Mainu playing it across the table. Because, of course, with the other midfielders being injured, Mainu is getting game time. And this is probably his longest run in the team since I've been here, for sure. Which is why we're now using him with England as well. We actually had a full Manchester United 3 in midfield in one of our matches. We went Mainu, Ireland and Pilbro. Bellingham having to sit that one out. But this is excellent work. Talking of Bellingham sitting one out, has Bellingham turned up today? Is he on the pitch? That Bellingham and Gavi sent. That's why we moved Gavi on. Gavi's not up to it, is he? He had his 1 year in England before we were just the conduit to his switch from Barcelona to Real Madrid. He won himself a Champions League, but he's also earned himself a battering here today because we're playing very, very well. And at 3-0 up, Van der Winden finally gets a touch of the ball, but Bordalas is there to just cut it away from Gavi and just make Gavi look very, very ordinary. Mainu playing in the role that Gavi would be playing in if he was still here, having a better game than Gavi's having. So turns out we were right to keep Mainu all along. There's Elunga playing it over the top, looking for the run from midfield from Ireland, who couldn't quite get there. But there's Mainu. I tell you what, Mainu's been everywhere today. He's had a very, very good game at the base of that midfield, and Strobel shoots from range. With Real Madrid having an injured goalkeeper, it doesn't matter how good he is. He always finishes below Canizares in the World Goalkeeper of the Year, which, by the way, Canizares has just won again. Yamal won the Ballon d'Or for the second year in a row. Canizares winning FIFA Best Goalkeeper for the third time in 4 years. Silly old Diogo Costa is what we say about that, I think. Right, Garnacho's going to come on at 3-0 up. I don't need to risk not fully fit Yamal, so he can stay on the bench. Heilbronn can come on up front. I think we might actually... We're going to bring Levi Burrows on the right wing. He can play there. Burrows is coming on the right wing. And we're also going to take off Ireland, and Pilbro can come on for him, and we'll just swap those two over and let Filieri be the more attacking of the two, as he's the most recently converted from attacking midfield. Both of them are converted attacking midfielders, but Pilbro has been a regular starter at centre mid for over a year for us now, so he can be the one who steps into that role today. And then for the final change, Pintoric is the left-sider, isn't he? And this is going to be his debut. Pintoric is going to come on and make his debut at left-back. And we could have brought on Deli, who can also play there, but I think he's the right-footer. We brought in the two young fullbacks in this one. We've not really used them yet, but one of them getting the opportunity today. And there is Van der Winden, and he's got nobody supporting him. Bellingham eventually gets there, and it's Van der Winden again. He's desperate to score a goal against us. He does manage to score a goal against us, but I mean, it's a bit late, isn't it? Elunga's already scored. He's probably looking at this front three of ours thinking, Heilbronn couldn't get in the squad ahead of me last year. Burrows was a centre-back last time I checked. I could still be in this Man United front three, and he could be. He just wouldn't have started. And obviously he wanted to start, so he's gone to Real Madrid. He's got himself a start. Filieri with the in-swinger. Burrows is there. He's hit the post. Oh, Burrows nearly making it 4. I mean, we don't need a 4th. We're comfortably going to win the game. And Mainu looked like he had Bellingham covered in midfield again there. And that's all been very, very comfortable. Real Sociedad, top of the Champions League with 5 wins from 5. But we're now settling ourselves into second place and should now cruise through to the knockout rounds. And Chelsea have just sacked their manager. Wow. Okay. New Chelsea boss splashes cash, and then they sack him. That is the most Chelsea 3 headlines in a row I've ever seen. That's probably the guy they were searching for. This is like 3 weeks of news for Chelsea. Searching for new manager splashes cash, new manager sacked. Rinse and repeat 3 times a year. Welcome to Chelsea, boys and girls. Where are they in the league? They are... We might be able to get Levi Colwill on the cheap in the summer. Goodness. He can't play for England if they get relegated. I'm not having that. Right, we're going to do a time jump. Unless something goes wrong. If we keep winning, I'm going to see you the other side of January for Man City away in the Premier League. If something does go wrong in the meantime, we'll be back a little sooner. But before that, is this weird? So the top league player development. So according to blah, 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 most footballers currently earning a living in the top divisions in Europe. Barcelona are top. That seems about right. Club Kildare under 19s are only 1 player behind Barcelona. There are 62 players who have come through Club Kildare under 19s who are now making a living playing in one of Europe's top leagues. Are they counting Ireland as a top league? They've got... I need to know who these players are. I mean, who are you? None of them are you clickable? You're still playing for them. And you're in there. I need an all-time best 11. I don't understand. This is bonkers. And it's not the only one that's bonkers. You got Ajax, Milan, Bayern. This all makes sense. We're in there. San Marino Academy. 53 players in top divisions in Europe came through the San Marino Academy. I'm missing something, aren't I? Can you explain that to me in the comments, please? because that will confuse me. Well, I actually thought I was going to have to come back early for a minute there because we had a little bit of a wobble. 4 draws in a row, including 3 of them in the Premier League. We were in danger of falling off the top of the league. Luckily, we then won a gazillion games in a row off the back of that, including a 10-0 win over Glentoran, bless him. Also a 7-1 over Nottingham Forest. In the Premier League, we did draw our last match against Newcastle 0-0, but the Premier League table looks like this. 23 games gone. We're 3 points clear. Lamine Yamal, despite not playing very often, is second top scorer in the league off of only 15 appearances. Erling Haaland is still absurd. The Dream 11 is starting to look very red, although Bart Verbruggen has made it in, and I don't really know what he thinks he's doing there. Champions League-wise, we ended up finishing second in the league phase, only Liverpool ahead of us. Where are Liverpool in the Premier League? Where on earth have they come from? 19th place Liverpool in the Premier League, finished top of the Champions League. What a strange season. Earlier in the video, Chelsea were down in the relegation zone. They've now made it up to 6th. What on earth is going on in this save? Chelsea on a winning run. Liverpool now all the way down in 19th place. Imagine if Liverpool got relegated but won the Champions League. That would be absolutely bananas. We have done some transfers in January as well. We've potentially got a morale manager problem coming in because after we sold Van der Wind and Joe Ireland got in a mood that we needed to strengthen on the left wing, I thought I'd been really clever by doing a swap deal with Real Madrid. Alan Preen is a winger. He is literally a left winger, an England international left winger. We got the big name signing inbox message when he came in. He's a 3.5-star current ability left winger. I think my mistake is probably only bringing him in as a squad player, but we did a swap deal for him from Real Madrid, and Maestri went to Real Madrid in his place, and they're now paying him 400 grand a week, which is bananas. And I figured that swap deal would be enough, but apparently it wasn't. And I'm now thinking we probably needed to have him listed as a first team, as a regular starter, but that would have led to him being grumpy about not playing often enough. So it looks like we're not going to solve that problem. We have done a couple of deadline day signings. This guy came up on my scout reports and I couldn't really resist for a £65 million release clause. We didn't really need him. He's another striker, but he's Italian. He's 20. He's got 8 goals in 8 caps for Italy. Got 21 goals in Serie A last year for Sassuolo. And he's quite quick. He's very good, isn't he? He is very good. So he's in. He's literally signed earlier today, so we've not seen him play yet. And we've also brought Enric Miguel in, a 25-year-old Spanish midfielder and defensive midfielder, just for some extra strength in depth. Mainu is still looking like he's going to be leaving at the end of the season. Larson is 30 now. And although Filieri is breaking through and is now a regular player alongside Pilbro, we just needed an extra body. So Miguel is the extra body. And we sold Boras, which did lose us an extra body as a defensive midfielder, which is one of the other reasons why I needed Miguel. And we haven't replaced him because we've called up Yakolis from the under-21s. He signed last summer, scored on his debut. He's 6'4". He's going to become homegrown at club in a season and a half's time. So he's just been moved into the first team squad. So we haven't done a direct replacement for Boras. We also sold Matthew Gibbons to Atletico for £49.5 million. Again, haven't directly replaced him because at right back, we've got Everton Antonio, who's our main starter, all these other guys who can play there, and Pascal Deli with five-star potential and 3.5 stars of current ability. We spent 51 million on him in the summer and have barely used him, so he can be the backup and it'll be fine. Obviously, we already know about Maestri leaving. Pintarech, who's the left back who came in the summer, has gone on loan to Sunderland for the rest of the season because at left back, we've got Aketsi, we've got Preen, who's just come in. Deli can cover there as well. Everton Antonio can cover there. And then we've loaned Keith Wilson out to Nice because we didn't need him. We brought him in because we needed homegrown players, then signed Hasseldin, so we don't need him anymore. Christian Phillip has gone on loan as well. He's gone to Union Berlin. And that is the squad as it stands as the transfer deadline closes, transfer window closes in January. We've still got £130 million to spend. Transfer debt is reducing nicely. That's all Lamine Yamal transfer debt. So we're not going to worry too much about any of that. We left loads of money on the table. And that was the summary of our January. We play Manchester City away from home next. If we beat them, we go 6 points clear and can just worry about the Champions League for the rest of the season, because the Premier League will be wrapped up for 4 in a row. So with all that being said, this is our team for Manchester City, and I mean, it pretty much is I would say this is our first 11. Harbrum's had a little run in the team lately, but he's suspended, having got sent off in the last match, and probably drops down the pecking order with Casemiro coming in anyway. Mainoo's been playing a lot regularly, but that's because Steve's been injured and Steve is now back. Preen might be our starting left back long term, but he's not for now. So this is our best 11, and we're taking on Manchester City. Canizares in goal, a back four of Eketsi, Bordalas, Memishi and Everton Antonio. Again, Burrows probably has an argument for being part of that back four. He plays quite regularly. Steve at the base of midfield. Filieri pretty much is a regular starter for me now. We've just given him a new contract as an important player. He's a 4.5-star player. He's played 19 games, so he's played almost every Premier League game this year. So Filieri is Ireland's partner. Larson at 30, dropping down the pecking order, and we'll probably move him on in the summer. Barcelona want him, so we'll probably cash in on him when summer comes. And then the front three of Yamal, Moniz and Ilunga. Let's get the team submitted. If this team isn't good enough to beat Manchester City, we don't have a team good enough to beat Manchester City. I still haven't been able to find a proper replacement for Steve at the base of the midfield. I'm not completely happy with him as a former Liverpool player. That's the main reason I'm not completely happy with him. He's actually very good, but he's also not particularly young. He was only ever a short-term solution anyway. When we let Agate go a couple of years ago, we still haven't really found the long-term solution. So we continue to look for that. I don't think it's going to be Miguel who's just come in. Everton Antonio shoots from range and he can't keep his shot down. But I want you to keep an eye on Filieri, who we brought in as an attacking midfielder. Most of his early games for us were playing centre forward. He is very much established now as our deep-lying playmaker alongside Ireland in midfield. And with Ireland with a grumpy on because we didn't sign a new left winger, he's considering his future at the club and is out of contract in 18 months. We might actually have to sell Ireland in the summer, which would lead to a Filieri and Pilbrow central midfield partnership, which is... I didn't expect when we put Ireland and Larson together to still be at Manchester United long enough to see me replacing both of them, but we've potentially got both of the long-term replacements already in the club, and Filieri is looking like a very, very good player. Moniz as well, developing to the point where Moniz and Yamal, there's very little to separate the two as the two best players in the Premier League. And with yet another striker coming in Casemiro, if he establishes himself as our striker, Ilunga might finally drop back into central midfield to compete with the likes of Filieri and Pilbrow in there. If we have to move Ireland on, obviously, ideally, we keep Ireland at the club. He's our captain. He's still only 25. He's my England captain as well. He could and should be here for the next 5 or 6 years before we cash in and sell him to the likes of Real Madrid. But Paris Saint-Germain are sniffing, and if it looks like he's not going to sign a new contract because he inexplicably wants us to sign a new left winger when we've got the best one in the world, we might have to cash in. Right, Ilunga is going to come off, which means a debut for Casemiro against the second best team in Europe. Moniz is going to come off as well. We don't have another winger to... I mean, I guess Preen comes on to play on the left wing. I hope Ireland's watching. Look, Preen's playing on the left wing. And Yamal moves over to the right-hand side. And then for the final change, I'm going to bring Dele on at right back, because I want to develop Dele. I need to get some game time into him. It's one of the reasons why we've moved Gibbons on, so Dele can get more game time. Yamal has got in behind the City defenders here, shoots from range, but the keeper manages to push it behind for a corner. This is where we probably should have brought Levi Burrows on, because he obviously would have been a major threat from this set piece. As it is, nobody was. We didn't even get to see the corner be taken, which is a little bit disappointing. I think we look to bring Burrows on as a matter of urgency. Right, Yamal needs to come off. There you go, Burrows. Burrows is coming on to play on the right wing again, because why not? He's a centre-back who can play on the right wing. That's a wonderful thing. And then we're going to take off Ireland. Pilbrow can come on for him. And we get that midfield combination that I was talking about before together in there to see how they can get on in a big match playing together. But I mean, a 0-0 is fine. A 0-0 leaves us 3 points clear at the top of the league. You can see by the goal difference we're miles ahead of where City are. It would have been nice to come here and pick up a win, but I guess coming here and not losing is fine too. And I thought we'd given away a penalty there. That would have been quite upsetting. Didn't see anything from Casemiro on his debut, did we? But he was playing against the toughest opposition he'll face all season. So we'll give him time. He's got 8 in 8 for Italy. I suspect he's going to end up quite good. Right, all focus from here, assuming we don't balls up the Premier League, is on the Champions League. We obviously want to win it. We will be back for the round of 16 in the next episode. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.